Welcome to another episode of Chasing Labels. I'm your host, Stephen Billings, and with me, as always, Mr. Andrew Cabral. What's up?
Hello, what's going on, man? Doing good. We are in a holiday week. It is Thanksgiving for all of you who, I guess, live in the United States. For those of you who do not live in the United States, we all gather on Thursday of this November week to eat food and sit with people we may or may not like, family or friends.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's an interesting tradition that has morphed over the years in so many different ways.
Yeah.
For many, it's a social obligation. For some, it's a welcome, and for others, it's hell on earth, depending on how messed up your family is.
Yeah.
But once again, Steve and I are back here for episode and spy number 125 to talk about movies and movie releases.
Oh, wow, did we surprise you? Did we surprise you?
Yeah, I know. It's as if we haven't done this 124 times previously. But yeah, it is. I don't know what it is for the last week or two, maybe this whole month. It feels like there's all kinds of sales, price drops left and right.
Oh yeah.
There's news about upcoming releases. It's that end of the year like crunch rush. I feel it when it comes to collecting.
It's overwhelming me.
You know what I mean? Like this is the type of time of year where I kind of try not catch up, but there's like if there are some releases that I didn't get earlier because they were too expensive, or there were just other things I wanted to get at the time, their prices start dropping. Mostly in the mainstream realm, you got those Black Friday sales at your stores and whatnot, where people line up in the freezing cold temperatures depending on where you live.
Stupid.
But luckily, the sales have been going on for the last week or two, and I think I've gotten everything I've wanted from any mainstream brick and mortar store. So I don't anticipate myself going out this Friday.
No. Yeah, I've done the same as well. I kind of have popped into Best Buy a couple times, and then we both have gotten little hauls. Yeah, we could both run through them real fast, I guess, if you want to.
Let me take a look at my stacks, see if I got them.
I'll run through mine real fast. So the first time I went out, I picked up a good little stack. I got the Norseman on 4K. That's one that it's not my favorite of Eggers so far, but still ambitious. I liked it. I did pick up the most recent Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I heard that they're actually going to take that Part 1 part out and name the second part just a different title.
Well, yeah, they also pushed it from 2024 to 2025 for the next part, so we got a while.
I'll be honest with you. This is my least favorite. I haven't
watched it yet.
So I watched it for the first time when I got this. It is my least favorite of the most recent movies that he's done. Starting with Ghost Protocol, which is my favorite still. And then each of them are still really good, with, I don't even remember all the titles of these fuckers.
But Rogue Nation. And Fallout.
I've liked them. This is my least. It's a little bit convoluted. This one's a little convoluted, more than usual. So, but it's not bad. It's still decent. It's just one of my lesser favorites of the franchise. I got a Kim Ji-woon film called The Age of Shadows. I found at a Dollar General for like $2.50. So
that could be a steal.
Yeah, along with Academy Award winning film The Artist, which I've never seen.
That's been in like so many Dollar Generals.
That's where I got it. And this could be a future unwatched pile because I've never seen it.
You've never seen it? All right.
Yeah.
All right. There's little coming attractions there.
Yeah. I did get one film from the Criterion sale so far, Freaks. I did get that Freaks.
Oh, nice.
Todd Browning set.
I can't remember what the name of the set actually is. What's it called? Sideshow
Attractions. I don't know. Sideshow.
Yeah, it's Todd Browning's Sideshow Shockers.
Yeah. And then I got Creed 3, Top Gun Maverick, and The Untouchables all on 4K. And then today I popped in there and I got Gran Turismo, which I thought was pretty solid action racer movie. It's better than that Stallone Driver movie. Remember Drive? Drive.
Goodness.
It's terrible. I got Oppenheimer on 4K. Of course, Nolan. Got to stay with Nolan. And then I finally updated my Mallrats to 4K. So
nice.
That's
Are you going
all.
from DVD?
No, I had a Blu-ray, but I had like the studio Blu-ray.
Oh, the Universal one. Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about because I think I had it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I popped in. It was weird. Best Buy had like a week of sales, and then they stopped having their sales, and then one day after that,
They're back.
they put a bunch of new sales back up. So it was like they're back. Um,
Hey,
yeah. So anywho, my first run, I got Creed 3, directed by Michael B. Jordan. It's the third Creed movie
they're
in the
already talking about
franchise.
the next one's coming out.
Yeah,
They're
they're
doing
doing another one. They're doing the Creed 4.
cool.
I upgraded my Rebel Without a Cause Blu-ray to the Rebel Without a Cause 4K UHD edition. One of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. You know me, I love my DC comics, so I had to get my DC comic movies on. I got Black Adam,
Terrible.
starring the one and only
Terrible.
Dwayne
Ugh.
the Rock Johnson.
Ugh.
If you want to watch The Rock punch things and people for 2 hours, that's the movie for you.
It's not good.
Next I got Shazam.
Watch Faster instead.
I guess. Yeah, that's true.
That's a better movie.
Next, I got Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which crashed and burned at the box office earlier this year. And then lastly, I got Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee movie that Warner Brothers put out in 4K UHD edition. This is the third time I bought this movie.
So now you can buy that Bruce Lee Arrow thing and then just replace the disc with 4K. It's the only movie that doesn't have a 4K.
Yeah, and now we know why. It's because Warner Brothers, I think, probably owns the rights to it everywhere. So I bought that. What else do I got? Oh, and then my second run of Best Buy Black Friday stuff, where they put in, like I just told you, they put in they put the sale prices back up plus sale on more stuff. I got Evil Dead Rise, which is the new Evil Dead movie. Unfortunately, I don't think this came with any special features, which I think is a crime, Warner Brothers. Come on, get it together. Upgraded my old Blu-ray copy of Reservoir Dogs with the new 4K. That Reservoir Dogs Blu-ray was out super early in the Blu-ray, market and run of things. Jaws 2, which I've watched for the first time, not great, but still relatively entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, it took all of the artistic and all the like really great stuff that elevated the first film and just brought it back down to like a shark attacks movie. That's it. Knock at the Cabin, the newest M. Night Shyamalan film, which I liked and kind of want to give it a rewatch. I know, Steven, you saw it as well.
It's fine. It's not. It's
based
not
on
great.
a super popular book. Like, the book is uber popular. And then I upgraded my my Blu-ray copy of Training Day to the new 4K UHD edition. That was another early Blu-ray from Warner Brothers.
I'm gonna need to get your opinion on that 4K because I watched it. I got it when it first came out, and I did not like the 4K transfer.
Not impressed.
It was not good. It was like really in the bright scenes, the darks were way too dark. Like, it was like super contrasty, like way too contrasty.
Yeah, I gotta check that out then. I did, of course. I went to the Criterion sale twice already. The video is uploaded and ready to go for my first trip.
It'll be dropping soon. Yeah,
it'll be dropping soon. So I guess I'll save that because I'll save that for people to watch that. But I did go my second time. I went today, actually, right before the show. I was rushing to get here. I had to get Mean Streets. I know we've lauded and talked about the second Sight release, but I've got all of the other Scorsese Criterion releases. So my OCD collecting isms got the best of me. It's like, I got to get Mean Streets on 4K from Criterion. I got the Claude Chabrol film La Cérémonie, which we talked about when it was announced. Really interesting, thought-provoking drama thriller starring Isabelle Huppert, that people will know. And then just as I was walking out, I was like, I want to get one more. So I got Walker by Alex Cox because I don't have a lot of Alex Cox in my collection.
I want to watch that, yeah.
I think I only have... No, I have Sid and Nancy, but I have a regular Blu-ray edition of Sid and Nancy, and then I have his Repo Man from Criterion.
Yeah.
And he appears in a lot of special features now. So that's my little hauls from the last couple of weeks. But let's talk about what's upcoming, because we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about in the upcoming world of movie releases. So where do we want to start out, Steven? Because we've got some places to go, people to see.
Since we're in the kind of like somewhat mainstreamy talk right now. Let's talk about that surprise announcement of what you don't know if it's true lies or not true or not. Did I throw it in there? I mean, I guess it's officially announced, but James Cameron's kind of like a trio of films that finally are getting like upgraded editions, 4K editions, or really just great editions in general. The Abyss and True Lies, and then we're also getting a 4K of Alien 3, which I
Or
think is kind of
Aliens.
or Aliens. Sorry,
Yeah,
Aliens. I don't know why I said Aliens 3. I
we
guess I'm
don't.
thinking about David Fincher.
Yeah, I was gonna say, will we get a 4K of Alien 3? That will be the next one.
Yeah.
I know we've had a 4K of Alien for a while, for
Oh
like
yeah.
years now, and it's been cheap and it looks good. Apparently, the Blu-rays looked fantastic,
Yeah.
but yeah, we finally got. We're inching ever closer to like having this in our collection. True Lies, The Abyss are the two biggest outliers when it comes to
Yeah.
James Cameron's
I guess James Cameron needed a
filmography.
lot of time to do all of them at once, and then like he find like because we got Titanic now too.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Titanic is also coming out. I just saw from Serial at Midnight that he got his copy in. He says it looks really, really great, which is great to hear because um, certain catalog releases are still underwhelming in today's market. I heard that the 4K UHD of American Graffiti put out by Universal looks pretty bad.
I'm
Unfortunately,
glad I didn't because I almost bought that today.
I heard that it's they use digital noise reduction
Oh
and they
no!
took out the film grain and it's from an older master and
Wow.
it looks like trash. It looks waxy, as they say, like Alien, the not Alien, the Predator 3D edition, which was super waxy from a few years ago. That Hunter edition, I think that was what it was called. It was notorious for being one of the worst Blu-ray releases ever. Um, so unfortunately, American Graffiti has gotten the same type of treatment, which is annoying that we're still dealing with old bad remastering and DNR in 2023. I thought we were past this.
Yeah.
But anywho, True Lies, The Abyss, I believe is having like a theatrical exhibition in early December. So people get to see it on the big screen. I know they've had screenings with James Cameron in person. That's kind of where he had really announced this. So next March. And I personally can't wait to have it because I have my DVD of True Lies sitting in my James Cameron section, just taking up dust, Stephen. So I
Yeah.
need True Lies. The Aliens is Alien and Aliens. The battle over which one is people's favorites and which one is quote unquote better, uh, goes on forever. I think
Mm.
it really all depends on what type of film you like. Do you like something that's more like a haunted house in space, or do you like something that's more of an action sci-fi in space? Really all depends on how you feel.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Alien versus Aliens, Steven?
Oh man, it's tough. I always fall. I mean, I think I probably have a little more fun with Aliens, but I've always looked at Alien as being like the movie. Like it's. I typically go for the original. It always,
Mhm.
always find that even with Terminator, like I mean, T2 is like one of the best movies ever. Like I love that movie, but there's something about the first Terminator movie that's so um raw and unique, and I mean, it's a sci-fi slasher. I mean, he's a slash. I mean,
Yeah,
it's so bad. It's badass. I mean, it's so badass.
it's very
And
interesting how those are connected. Whereas the Alien is more horror based, and Terminator is more horror
yeah,
based.
yeah,
Whereas their sequels are more action based.
yeah.
Very, very interesting. But they are coming loaded with special features, at least from what I've seen. Go on Blu-ray.com and they have kind of a whole rundown of what's coming on. Um, like this Aliens 4K is stacked. And I'm not a big fan of the cover art they're using, Steven, for
Yeah.
these. They look like Photoshop jobs that were done very quickly and very haphazardly, but I guess just having the movie on disc is the most important thing in the
It
world.
is. It is the
Uh,
most important thing.
but another mainstream thing is Columbia Classics collections. So there's been 3 of these already, and we're getting the 4th one now. This was a nice announcement this week for those of you who have been collecting these. Um, I haven't. Steven, do you have any of these?
Well, I don't know. I didn't buy any of these. Once
Okay.
the first one got past me, I was like, I ain't forget this.
Well, you know what? Kind of annoying for me specifically is I thought that they would release the movies individually, after these had come out, and then maybe like a year later they'd come out with them individually, and they've done it. They've done it for some of the titles, not all of the titles.
Yeah,
That's what annoys the heck out of me. Um, like I know they've re-released Doctor Strangelove individually. They've re-released um, uh, Lawrence of Arabia individually. They've re-released um, a whole bunch of these individually, but some they haven't. Like A League of Their Own, I don't think has been re-released individually in 4K, and that was like in the first box from years
yeah,
ago. But anywho, we're on the box number 4 now, and box number 4 has um, His Girl Friday, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Kramer versus Kramer, Starman, which I feel like was something that may have been um, like voted in by fans. Sleepless in Seattle, and then Punch Drunk Love. Now, Steven, what do you notice about this set that may be a little interesting to you? Because it's something
Hmm.
interesting to me.
What is
There's 2
interesting?
films in here that are part of the Criterion collection. Um,
Ah, Jesus, you're so good.
yeah, and Punch Drunk Love and His Girl Friday.
Yeah,
Um, and so, what does this mean in terms of those films getting upgrades within the Criterion collection?
I don't think it means anything when it comes to the potential that it still can come to the
Yes.
collection. Yeah,
Well, the connection I'm gonna make is literally what just happened a week ago, is that The Last Picture Show got a 4K UHD release from Criterion, and it had been released in 4K UHD in one of these sets previously. So
yeah.
the precedent is already set.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it
yeah,
means that it's possible that's going to happen soon.
yeah. So it means
Because
that that could
yeah,
happen.
yeah,
And I would, His Girl Friday is such a great, amazing film that I'm curious how it's going to look. And then of course, Um, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner has been released several times. I know there was a Blu-ray put out by Twilight Time. There was a Blu-ray put out by Sony. I think Indicators put out their own Blu-ray release
they
of it.
did. Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a Stanley Kramer film starring Katharine Hepburn um, and of course, um, not blanking. Don't ask me why. Spencer Tracy, as well as um, Sidney Poitier. And then Kramer versus Kramer is the Best Picture winner. I
yeah.
don't think anybody remembers that. That's the Best Picture winner. That's one of the only Best Picture winners that I don't own in my collection.
Really?
Yeah, I never bought the Blu-ray. It's been available forever. Um, so maybe
Yeah,
I'll just wait for this 4K to get in an
believe
individual
I
release.
believe I have a DVD. I don't even think I have a Blu-ray.
I've seen it. I've seen
Yeah,
the movie. It's very
it's
good.
it's good.
Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep
Yeah,
fighting over custody of a child.
yep,
That's kind of the crux of the movie.
yep.
Uh, and but these are beautiful, beautiful sets. Um, Lovely, like I don't know, like shelf pieces that look really great on the shelf. Beautiful designs and everything. They get individual cases with slip covers. So if you're a slip cover enthusiast, that's another thing. When they release these individually, some of these films individually from these sets, they didn't have the slip covers. So if you're a slip cover enthusiast, you kind of missed out a little bit on that. But yeah, that's Columbia Classics Volume 4, which is coming. Where's this bad boy coming out? February 13th. It'll be
Mm,
here before we know it.
mm-hmm.
Um, so moving on, I guess we can move into our boutique game. Yes,
Boutique, the labels.
the
Um,
labels.
let's go run through Kino real fast.
Okay, let me get my Keynote tab up.
Um,
Okay, good. I got to scroll down because I completely forgot to scroll down.
we
La 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 la
I
la.
believe we're starting here at the Clark
I,
Gable, Burt Lancaster
yes.
film Run Silent, Run Deep.
Oh, yes, we are. I really like this movie a lot.
I want to
Uh,
watch it because it's got two of my favorite actors of that
yeah,
time.
it's a submarine movie, and I
Yeah,
don't know, submarine movies are cool to me.
they're just always cool.
They seem like almost like a lost art because they kind of don't
Well,
quite make them
well,
anymore.
they're kind of the way that they're designed is that it almost turns into like a play, because it's like single location, it kind of becomes the dialogue driven for the most part. You know,
Yeah, and there's something incredibly just tenseful and um, stressful about being one under the water, under the ocean. The
God,
ocean's a scary ass place.
scary as it is, yeah.
And being in a submarine and cramped quarters, no escape. It's super tenseful. If something goes wrong and you get stuck down there, that must be one of the scariest things ever. Yeah, I'm not a fan of going underneath the water. Um, but this stars screen legends Clark Gable and Burt Lancaster. It's a gripping World War II adventure thrill that's set a new standard for submarine pictures. Rich Richardson, portrayed by Clark Gable, is a hard driving, dedicated submarine officer with a single minded purpose to seek out and smash the Japanese destroyer he believes sunk his former ship. Given a new command, Richardson drills his men to the point of mutiny as he relentlessly trains them for the battle ahead. At last, word comes of the destroyer's position, and disobeying orders, Richardson finally confronts his foe, unaware that an even greater enemy lurks nearby, one that's targeting him for a watery grave. Directed by the great Robert Wise, who directed Odds Against Tomorrow and The Sand Pebbles, amongst a lot of other movies like The
West Side
Haunting
Story. Yeah.
and West Side Story. I believe Robert Wise also was the editor on Citizen Kane. Yeah, it's got a stellar supporting cast of Jack Warden, Brad Dexter, and Don Rickles. But of course, Burt Lancaster's in the film as well. Uh, Special note, they released this before. So this is another one of those that's getting a re-release. But as they said here, this is the same transfer as the 2014 release, but encoded at a higher bit rate and on a dual layer BD 50 gigabyte disk, giving the feature 30 megabits per second or more. So it should look better than the previous release that was on a BD 25 gigabyte single layer disk. We also added a brand new audio commentary, new key and reversible art, and a slipcase. Yeah, I like the slipcase, and I like the artwork.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Yeah, this is I think an underrated submarine movie. I really love it a lot. From 1958. Next we have the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming,
Mm.
and um this is a spoof movie. Actually, this is a movie that is um, directed by Norman Jewison, with a cast of Carl Reiner, Eva Marie Saint, Brian Keith, Jonathan Winters, Alan Arkin's in this film as well. Um, it's playing on the whole idea of the Cold War and like Russia invading and stuff like that. And what happens is this Russian submarine, of which Alan Arkin is like a crew member of, ends up getting um and ends up getting stuck on a sand dune or a sand barge off the New England coast, and they have to go to shore in order to like find people to help them get their submarine like dislodged. But they're Russian, so the people of the town think the Russians have invaded, and it creates like this whole incident, like international
Right.
incident of like the Russians are here, the Russians are here. Uh, and it's this super small New England town with a bunch of eccentric townsfolk. A bunch of them get their guns and are all gonna get all rabble rousing and all this kind of stuff. But it's played for laughs, like super
Mm.
laughs. Like Alan Arkin has a ridiculous Russian accent in it. Carl Reiner is kind of like a bumbling father is like who's married to Eva Marie Saint, and he's like he tries to ride to town to warn people, but they already know they're there. And then like the townsfolk and the mayor and the police are all kind of like stupid. They take things way too seriously and all freak out. It's funny at times a little bit. I didn't laugh too much. I know a lot of people really, really like it, at least from seeing ratings on Letterboxd and IMDb rating and stuff like that. I've heard about this movie for years, and I never saw it, and I never bought the other Blu-ray that they put out of it. So it got me to watch the movie. It comes with a new audio commentary. It comes with the Russians are coming to Hollywood featurette with the director Norman Jewison. It's fine. It's a
Yeah.
fine movie. Yeah, this is once again a re-release from the 2014 Blu-ray that's getting a larger disc, a BD 50 gigabyte disc, so that the bit rate should be higher and it should look better. But if you already own it, I don't think you necessarily need to upgrade it unless you want the new audio commentary. And I think it comes with a slipcover as well. Or does it?
Awesome.
Yes, an O-card slipcase. It's coming out January 16th. And I do want to say that Run Silent, Run Deep is coming out January 16th as well. But next up, Steven, I know we got a movie that I know you've seen. We finally got it, got some details on it, and that is the one and only Kindergarten Cop, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Ivan Reitman. Steven, do you have fond memories of watching this as a child as I do?
Ah, yes. It's not only fond memories, but of course I quote it endlessly, even to this day. Anytime somebody's got something in their hand they shouldn't, I say, "Put the cookie down," or it's, if I got a headache, I'm like, or somebody's got a headache, I'm like, maybe it's a tumor. It's not a tumor. Shut up.
I've said this many times. As a kid, the only Schwarzenegger films that I watched were Twins and Kindergarten Cop, because these were the movies of his that were not rated R and were not like at over the top, violent action movies.
Them were the two that I watched a lot as well. But my parents were cool, so they let me also watch Terminator, specifically Terminator 2. I watched a lot. But yeah, and then of course, throw in End of Days.
There's always got to be an End of Days reference on here.
Yeah,
where we talk about End of Days.
We're gonna make that a show. That's gonna be an episode.
I have it on. Oh, do I have it still? I have to look in my. I'm looking at my horror shelf right now.
Do a deep dive review on End of Days one day, just to talk about it in depth.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my shelf right now. I can't remember how the alphabet works, so I can't remember where
N starts with an E.
Yeah, A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, I'm looking at the D's. There's the E's. Maybe I don't have End of Days. Wow. Maybe it's in my action section. I thought I had it on DVD.
He's the only one that knows how he organizes his shit. It's nobody would ever.
My eyesight's just not great in general, but yeah. So Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
This was announced a while ago, and now we're just finally getting some confirmation on when it's coming out, which is January 23rd. This is a 4K UHD release. It's 2 discs. It's a UHD disc as well as a Blu-ray disc. We got 2 new audio commentaries here. One by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas and Josh Nelson. We know Alexandra Heller-Nicholas as a guest on our show. Another one is by Sam Deegan, who also makes an appearance on many boutique discs around the globe. So this is going to be. I don't own it. I've never owned this movie.
I don't think I've ever owned it either. It's just it was one of the movies that was always on TV. So
yes. It was a cable staple, really.
Yeah.
And that's probably how I watched it so many times.
I think we had it on VHS too, I believe. So that's how I watched it so much. But
we may have recorded it off of TV, similar to what I did with Ghostbusters 2.
Remember them days?
I know. And now we have
DVRs.
To
record things off of TV.
And even then, I don't think a lot of people use DVRs now anymore. I think DVRs are kind of going the way of like the TiVos and you say, recording.
Yeah.
Just because streaming is so dominant.
Yeah. There's no reason to have that anymore.
Yeah, even DVRing TV shows, like I don't even think I do that as often anymore. Because it's usually available on streaming the next day.
I was gonna say it's gonna drop on Hulu.
Yeah, like the next day, or sometimes that night. Like HBO. If you watch any HBO show, as soon as it airs on HBO, it's on Max, right at the same time, simultaneously, which is rather convenient, to be honest. But anywho, Kindergarten Cop, awesome, great news. Yeah. More Arnold Schwarzenegger in your life. So moving on from there, we have a movie called Alaska Seas, a movie starring Robert Ryan, Jan Sterling, Brian Keith. This movie is kind of forgettable. Forgettable. We don't have any information on it other than it's coming soon on Blu-ray from a brand new HD master by Paramount Pictures. So it was obviously done in the Paramount Kino deal that they did a while back, as a lot of these are. But okay, so a crooked salmon fisherman tries to wow, that's not a word. Fisherman tries to steal his best friend's fiance and put him out of business. Kind of, yes, that's kind of what's going on. Robert Ryan is kind of a scummy guy who he leaves one place because he can't pay some type of bills or something, and he decides he's going to go to Alaska and work for his friend. His friend portrayed by Brian Keith, but he's also kind of going to like stab him in the back and screw him over as well by not only like stealing from his business, but also trying to steal his wife as well, which is like a
Mm,
double dirty thing to do.
damn.
Um, so yeah, it's a lot of like betrayal and stuff like that. The movie's 78 minutes long, so it's not too long of a tale, but it's fine. I watch it because I like Robert Ryan, to be honest. Robert Ryan is an actor who was in like a bunch of movies. Like he's in The Wild Bunch, he's in Bad Day at Black Rock, he's in The Longest Day, The Naked Spur, The Setup with him and Audrey Totter. Great film noir to watch this time of year. If you
Yeah.
if you're looking for something to watch for November, came out in 1949. It's short, great boxing movie. There's a beautiful Blu-ray put out by Warner Archive of it. Yeah, it's that movie's awesome. So moving on from there, because it's not really much to say about it. We have the Lincoln Conspiracy. 1977. This is coming soon on Blu-ray from a 2017 HD master from Paramount Pictures. This is a movie that I knew nothing about, and I didn't get to see it, but I want to at least get the synopsis of it. So, speculative Sun Classics chestnut detailing a wide-ranging government conspiracy to murder the 16th president and subsequent cover up and escape of his killers. Um,
Hmm.
Government political conspiracy film. There was actually a very elaborate plot um, done towards the end of Civil War to kill Lincoln and his cabinet members. And a bunch of guys chickened out at the end. And this is just going based off what I know from history. The only person who kind of went through with it was John Wilkes Booth, and he ended up killing the president.
Of course.
I know the other cabinet members were. I think one was attacked at his home, but yeah, there was a large conspiracy to kind of murder Lincoln and his
Yeah.
cabinet. I'm pretty sure this is what
Ja-
this is going on.
John Wilkes Booth, the most method of actors.
Yeah, the way I was taught about it is that after he killed Lincoln in the balcony, well, shot him in the back of the head, he then like swung down onto the
Yeah.
stage, and people thought it was part of the show because he was an actor. Yeah, there's a little
It's wild.
history
Wild.
tidbit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that perhaps this is what it's going based on, or probably maybe even going more further in conspiracy theory places. Probably avenues that Oliver Stone would go down in movies like JFK and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving on from the Lincoln Conspiracy.
A connection to this one. Same director as the Lincoln Conspiracy is The Boogans.
Oh, so we've got the Boogans, which is an interesting name. So
Yeah.
otherworldly creatures inhabit the bootleg tunnels underneath a small town mining community, and they kill any of the townsfolk who invade their home. You shouldn't be going underground anyways, unless you're a coal miner, unless you're a miner for gold or diamonds. Don't go underground, people. It's not good. There are boogans under there, clearly.
The Boogans.
Clearly. But this is getting a 4K UHD release from Kino on January 30th. This is a 2-disc edition. There is no escape. In a small town near Denver, two young men begin to explore a long-abandoned old mine recently reopened by a group of miners. See, it was closed for a reason.
Yeah.
It was closed for a reason.
Boogans were down there.
Yeah, the one of the men is discovered missing. Well, he's dead. His friends begin a search that leads them to horrifying
That guy's
consequences.
dead. Yeah.
We get it. Don't go underneath the ground. Yeah, directed by James L. Conway, Lincoln Conspiracy, and Hangar 18. There's a recommendation here from Stephen King. I recommend The Boogans cheerfully and heartily. Stephen King from Twilight Zone magazine. Also available on Blu-ray as well.
So that's the guy that directed Maximum Overdrive.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So yeah, this is getting a UHD release as well as a regular Blu-ray, coming with A few special features. Looks like two audio commentaries. And the slipcover, January 30th. And then lastly, here is TV show related, but it's just Monk season 3, January
Keep
30th
bringing,
as well.
putting them
They're
out, man.
moving. They're moving pretty quick with putting out these Monk seasons.
Doing it.
They're doing it. All right,
All right, man.
let's get out of Kino. Let's go to Eureka. Just
Okay.
because they don't have a lot to talk about. So
Eureka!
Eureka! I think of Eureka's Castle from
Ah, yes. Eureka's Castle, Nick Jr.
yes. So we've got a few releases here from them. Steven, what are they? Do you have them
All
up?
right. Yes, I do. Starting here from 1974, we have Slaughter in San Francisco.
We do.
And then from 1972, we have Yakuza Wolf 1 and 2. Then from 1957, I believe this was previously announced, Paths of Glory getting a 4K.
Yes. The Stanley Kubrick World War I film.
Yes. And then in 1988, we have On the Silver Globe.
Yeah, these are the On the Silver Globe. The Third Part of the Night and the Devil.
Yeah.
This is part of their Andrei Zulawski box set that they had put out.
Yes.
These are the standard editions of those.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, that set went out of print pretty quickly, so these are the...
Yeah, people wanted them, and remember they were pushed back because of picture. They wanted to do something where they came to... They got the wrong master or something, and they had to redo some things. But anywho, that set eventually did come out, and people still bought them all up. And so now we've got some standard editions of those. Paths of Glory is coming out February 26th of 2024. First run of these 2,000 copies feature a limited edition slipcase. Yeah, this movie's amazing. This has got to be one of Kubrick's best films. It's a stunning masterwork from him. The 4K is probably going to look amazing. I hope we get a 4K here soon of it. Criterion, if you hear me, put it out, please.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, put it out tomorrow.
Yesterday.
I remember, speaking of which, I remember when, because recently, as of a couple of days, Guillermo del Toro came out and, obviously supporting physical media and all that kind of stuff. Piggybacking off of Christopher Nolan, telling people to go buy the Blu-ray for Oppenheimer. Anywho, I remember when Guillermo del Toro went to the Criterion Closet years and years ago, and it was right before Paths of Glory came out. And he asked them if they had Paths of Glory. And the guy behind the camera said, no, it's not out yet. And he was like, yeah, we'll send it to you. And I'm like, I have a feeling Del Toro, if he asks for something from Criterion, he gets it.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. I have that feeling. I have a feeling that if you're in the Criterion collection if one of your films are in there, you should be able to ask for whatever you want. I don't know if that's just me.
I think you should.
Yeah. But anywho, that's my Paths of Glory kind of connection there. But the movie is beyond stunning and amazing. Just gorgeous cinematography, dark themes.
Yeah.
Kubrick masterwork. I can tell you what's not a masterwork. Oh goodness. Slaughter in San Francisco.
Dude, don't tell me this. That cover looks amazing.
First of all, the way they sell this movie by putting Chuck Norris on the cover of everything marketing for this movie is the biggest lie you're ever going to see. He's in this movie for 10 to 15 minutes at the most and has very little lines. He's not the protagonist. He's the bad guy in it.
You just ruined this Christmas present for my dad. My dad loves Chuck Norris, and he's going to be pissed if he's only in this movie 10 minutes.
And for most of it, he doesn't say anything. Like, there's just one part where he's like at a restaurant. He's sitting at a table and just looking all menacing.
I want fries. That's it. That's all he says.
Yeah. So a Chinese American cop skilled in martial arts battles the most powerful criminal gang in San Francisco that is responsible for the death of his partner, and the head of this most powerful criminal gang in San Francisco is Chuck Norris.
Damn.
So, it's not a spoiler. The climax of the movie is he has to fight Chuck Norris. It's not a big surprise here. But the movie is just not good. Like, the fighting is entertaining. Granted, I'll say this with a caveat. I watched it with a really, really bad English dub in the wrong aspect ratio. in not great quality. So it wasn't the best of circumstances, but the English dub was just laughably bad. And yeah, like if you're going into this movie thinking it's a Chuck Norris action picture, like a I don't know what were some of the Chuck Norris action pictures in the 80s.
Oh
Um,
man, shit. Like, god damn it! Now that you tell me, you asked me to bring it up, I can't think of any
yeah,
because
now let me look. Luckily, I'm on his
Delta
IMDb right
Force,
now.
Delta Force.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Delta. If you're thinking like Delta Force or even like I don't know, there's something here like Invasion USA or
What's the
something
one
like
he
that.
did with the? They all did a movie with the dog. He did a movie with the dog too.
Is it
Um,
okay?
um,
I was gonna say, is it called is it called Top Dog?
it might have been
I
actually.
don't know. There's a movie called Top Dog from
I think it is.
1995
I think that's
where
it.
he's literally on the cover or like hugging a dog.
Hugging a dog.
Is it his Turner and Hooch?
No, that's no. Well, not really. No, it's not that. Not that. Not that. He
Well,
can't
yeah.
do
If you're
comedy.
thinking of
Chuck
like
Norris can't do comedy.
yeah, anywho, if you're thinking of Delta Force, if you're thinking of Missing in Action, if you're thinking of those like
Yeah,
80s
missing in
action Chuck
action.
Norris pieces, this movie is not that. And I feel like they were selling this movie as that when I saw the trailer, when I saw the posters for it, and it is not that at all. So yeah, kind of super disappointing in that. But you know what's not disappointing is Yakuza Wolf 1 and 2. Well, at least Yakuza Wolf 1, which I watched, starring Sonny Chiba. Now, Yakuza Wolf 1 and 2 is available in the Sonny Chiba box set collections that Shout Factory slash Shout Studios has been putting out. It's in there, that volume 1 Sonny Chiba set. So for those of you who have that, you already own these movies. But that collection from Shout Factory doesn't have any special features. All it has is a 26-minute interview with Sonny Chiba, and that's the only special feature on that. As opposed to this release, which has some other special features, like it has a brand new feature-length commentary on both films. It's got a brand new feature by Howard Hughes, not the Howard Hughes, but a Howard Hughes, looking at the spaghetti western influences on Yakuza Wolf and the broader influence Japanese cinema had on Western genre. It's got a booklet here with some stuff, and it's got uh, yeah, I think it has like a slip box or whatever, the usual Eureka slip box, I believe, or slip case. Anywho, this one has more features than that Shout Factory release did. And Yakuza Wolf is a pretty damn awesome movie, I would have to say. It's very much in the vein of Yojimbo or A Fistful of Dollars. It's a spaghetti western, Yakuza film
Yeah.
with some samurai elements to it. Uh, so I would definitely highly recommend checking that movie out. It's available to stream right now. I think on Shout Studios has their own streaming service. They've had it for years, Shout TV, and I think it's free with ads to watch, kind of like their version of Tubi. So you can
Okay.
check that out on there. Um, but the Zalowski films, I still haven't gotten a chance to watch them yet, so I can't really say anything other than I got to see his movie Possession, which is goddamn amazing.
That's
So I
awesome,
would
man.
watch all that guy's films from now on. Um, but yeah, so that's it from Eureka. And these, I believe, are their February releases, right? Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
they are. So let's move on from Eureka. Let's go to oh man, let's go down the tunnel of love or the tunnel of films known as 88 Films decided to drop 3 months worth of releases.
Don't like this. I don't like this
Steven
dump.
hates when they
I
do
hate
this.
these. I hate these dumps. I don't like this.
Yeah. So let me so I know they have a list of a bunch of them on blu-ray.com. They have them on obviously listed on their Facebook page as well as other social media avenues. Um but Steven, let's tackle this together. You take the high road, I'll
Uh,
take the low road.
all right. Well, here we go. So, starting here, we have a film called Night of the Comet. Uh, and then we have Tokyo Decadence. We have Mosquito Squadron. We have Loch Ness. We have SWAT. We have So Close, and then we have the Amityville Horror, which I believe it's the original one. I believe, right?
It is.
Yes. And then we have Street Law, and then we have a film called Evil Dead Trap, Evil Dead Trap 2, Hideki, Gold, the beauty of beauties, the Inspector Wears Skirts 2, Witchfinder General, Witchfinder. Okay, that's Blu-ray. The Blood of Satan's Claw, which I believe that was announced a while back ago. Um, Count Dracula, yeah, them have been announced already.
Yeah, some of these have already been announced.
Blade in the Dark, yeah, that's all been announced already.
Yeah, Blade in the Dark, I think got a release from Vinegar Syndrome a while ago as well.
Yes.
But yeah, under their Japanarchy, just I don't know labeling here. Evil Dead Trap, Evil Dead Trap 2, and Tokyo Decadence kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, I got to see a few of these. Some of these I'd already seen before. Like the Count Dracula is a Jess Franco film doing the Count Dracula story with Christopher Lee. We talked about
it.
We talked about it before. This is a 4K UHD of that. Witchfinder General is the Vincent Price film, which is available in one of the Shout Factory Vincent Price collections. But this is obviously a 4K of that. Let's see what else did I get to see? Oh, Evil Dead Trap and Evil Dead Trap 2 are streaming on Shudder right now. Interesting Japanese horror films. Okay, so Evil Dead Trap, the first film, is kind of like a Japanese Saw film. In really all in its gore, in its setups, in its kind of whole premise, really. So, a TV station employee takes a camera crew out to an abandoned factory to investigate a purported snuff film that was made there. As she gets closer to the truth, she and her friends are subjected to a brutal nightmare. Basically, they all start dropping like flies one by one in brutal ways. They start falling into traps and being viciously murdered. Hence the whole Saw thing of it all.
Yeah.
But this is Japanese horror, so it's pretty brutal. It's like a rather low budget film too. Like it takes place in one location. It's like an abandoned warehouse place. Yeah, it's all rigged up for people to die in. But there's a certain twist of it all in the end, kind of similar to Saw. Saw always has its twists. The second film is rather different. Death Trap 2 Hideki is kind of like a super psychological thriller in the vein of like a Japanese David Lynch film.
Shit.
Man, I was watching this movie last night around 1 a.m. and I didn't know what planet I was on. I was like, did I drop acid or is this crazy beyond crazy? It gave me Mulholland Drive vibes. If Mulholland Drive was even crazier than it is. I don't know what was going on at times. All I know is that it was wild and it was brilliant. There's this woman in this film who's kind of clairvoyant, and she is getting these visions, is having these dreams. These weird things are happening. What's real? What's not real? What is prophetic? What's not? As the film goes on, and as she falls deeper and deeper into these powers that she apparently has, things get weirder and weirder. Until there's some crazy third act twist that I don't even know what was going on. So the premise is a female projectionist is haunted by the image of a small boy while a killer prowls the city. The projectionist's relationship with her attractive and successful reporter friend drives the plot deeper into insanity. Yeah, there is a sexual aspect to it that's maybe an exploration of like sexual repression. There's so much happening in this movie, and the movie is like an hour and 37 minutes, and so much going on. All I can tell you is it's completely different than the first, not really connected with the first film at all. All they really do is take the name of it, and it's just a wild ride. If you like Japanese horror, if you like avant-garde horror films, this may be the one for you. You honestly don't even need to watch the first one to watch the second one. They're that non-connected, really. But yeah, wild movies. Moving on from there, what else did I get to see? Obviously, we've the Amityville Horror here is getting a 4K UHD release as well as a Blu-ray release. SWAT I think we've seen. This has been
Oh
released so
yeah,
many times.
yeah,
Steve, I think you've seen it.
yeah.
Mosquito Squadron is a World War II like action film. So Royal Air Force Squadron leader David Scotty Scott, oh boy, not a great nickname there.
Scotty Scott.
Scotty Scott is shot down over France and thought to be dead. His best friend Quint Monroe takes his place not
better
only
better name.
better name takes his place not only as leader but also in the arms of Scott's wife. You just fly your missions, my guy.
Missy Miss.
Yeah, just fly your missions. Come on. Her name is Beth. Apparently,
Oh, bet.
Quint is to lead an attack on a Gestapo stronghold in northern France, where French resistance fighters and Allied soldiers are being held prisoners. Soon, Quint realizes that Scotty is alive and being held in his bombing target. So yeah, they go on like this dangerous bombing mission to free captured POWs in northern France. That's the general gist of that
Cool.
movie. It's fine. The action sequences are cool. The drama's fine. It's a fine film. A movie I really wanted to see but did not get a chance to, but it is streaming. I think on like Roku. Like Roku is streaming for free. Is Tokyo Decadence. A submissive prostitute goes about her trade, suffering abuse at the hands of Japanese salarymen and yakuza types. She's unhappy about her work and is apparently trying to find some sort of appeasement for the fact that her lover has married. Now, the reason why I'm interested about it, first of all, Stephen, did you see the cover artwork for this Blu-ray they're putting out? It's rather suggestive in many ways.
Yeah.
And also it's just like, how dark and twisted is this film going to be? Is this going to end up being a revenge film of some kind? Is this end up going to be some type of empowerment film of some kind? What type of film is this? I really wanted to check it out, but just ran out of time because we have to record this podcast sometime. We can't
Yeah.
take all week. But yeah, Tokyo Decadence, and it's part of their Japanarchy, which is a rather clever play on words there with Evil Dead Trap and Evil Dead Trap 2. But yeah, so I wanted to check out Tokyo Decadence, but did not get a chance to. What else did I see? I feel like I watched so much and yet so little at the same time.
You saw Loch Ness, right?
I did not see Loch Ness, although I saw many people on Letterboxd waxing nostalgically about it. The movie stars Ted Danson, who goes to where there are supposedly the legend of the Loch Ness Monster, and I guess tries to find if it's true or not.
I guess it's
That
an
seems to be-
introspective film.
Yeah,
They're not really looking for Loch Ness. They're looking for something inside themselves.
I guess so.
I don't know.
guess
I
so.
haven't seen it, so I don't know.
But yeah, I think that's it for 88.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff, lots of months ahead.
There's 88 films here, I think.
Yeah, I feel like there's 88 films in.
Jesus.
And Night of the Comet, we've already talked about because Shout Factory just put out a 4K UHD of that, which I want to get my hands on. Really like that movie a lot. But I guess that's it for 88 in terms of all the things I've seen. Gold is something I wanted to check out, but still haven't. The Beauty of Beauties, what a name. What a name.
Beauty of Beauties.
I know.
Beauty.
It seems like a title out of like a beauty contest or something.
Or like a trash novel.
That too.
The Beauty of Beauties.
But let's move on to, I guess, since we're in the realm of things, let's go to Severin, shall we? Because we got the rest of their Black Friday stuff. They're prepping for their big Black Friday sale, and things are cooking with gas over there. So
that's gross. That's
yeah,
not. That makes the food taste bad. Huh?
Well, how else do you cook, Stephen? Does your stove run on?
Not with gas.
You don't have a gas stove?
No. Hell, what year are you in?
Sometimes I often wonder.
You got gas stove? You got gas stove over there?
I do have a gas stove.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of gas stoves, actually.
Yeah, you know why? Because they
blow up. Yeah.
Yeah, explode in houses. We have an electric stove.
Okay, yeah, you're a safe person.
Yeah, but
my parents are old school. They still use like gas.
They're just throwing gasoline on everything.
They're just throwing gasoline. They still use gas ovens and stuff like that. But anywho, where am I?
Severin. So Severin. So I guess we're starting with Raiders of the Living Dead.
Yes, Raiders of the Living Dead, which is their title reveal number 6. So we got Raiders of the Living Dead, and their Black Friday Title reveal number 7 is The Sect,
Mm,
which is getting a
yes.
4K UHD release, and it's a 3-disc set, including a CD, which is apropos for Severin. That's what they do. That's what they like to do. And then I guess title reveal number 8 is The Unscared or The Unscarred. How do you pronounce that, Stephen?
Scarred.
Ah, The Unscarred. Okay. That
I
makes
believe
sense. That
so.
makes a lot more sense since I've seen the
Scared.
movie.
Scared.
Yeah. And then is there a title reveal number 9? Yes, Spider Labyrinth.
Yeah.
That's it. And of course, in typical Severance style, they've got several bundles that they're going to be not announcing on Friday, opening up to the public on Friday. When it comes to the sale, they've got a bunch of other like merchandise. They've got uh,
Pins and
yeah, all that kind of stuff.
there's a snow globe in one, I believe.
Yeah, the Tangled Web bundle, which is for Spider Labyrinth, which comes with Spider Labyrinth on 4K UHD, plus a bunch of other stuff. Um, they've got the Stir Crazy bundle, which comes with the movie Stir, as well as an authorized reprint of the 1980 novelization of the movie.
Ha.
They've got the Buddy G bundle, which is the unscarred, and it comes with a all new novelization from writer director Buddy Giovananzi. I think that's for Combat Shock, one of their more popular titles. And then that's it. But also, Saturday is going to be the day where they have their box sets on sale,
I
just
think
for
they're
that. I guess that 24-hour period.
yeah, I think they're 50% off, I believe, right?
And they usually don't have their box sets on sale, at least not for the last couple of years, or maybe at least not all of them. Or so that's going to be super important. They have their list of all um, their sale rules and regulations and what's going to be happening, what's not going to be happening, because people get very confused and things go haywire over there every year in some way, shape, or form. So they got everything set up, raring to go. But when it comes to these movies, I did get to see a couple of them. I got to see The Unscarred, which is an interesting movie for Severin because it's like a drama thriller. It's not a horror film like they put out. It's not something. It's not like an exploitative film. I think, in my opinion, it's like a genuine, um, like a genuine, um, like thriller drama, and it's. Let me get the premise of it. Let me go to Letterbox and do that.
Four
So
exchange students meet
yes,
in
there you go.
Berlin 20 years after graduating, but picking up where they left off doesn't turn out to be as easy as they hoped.
Yes. And the movie is it's a B movie, so it doesn't have a high budget or anything like that. But I like the premise of it. I like its execution. Some of the acting isn't really great, but some of them is better than others. So that's what you kind of get with B movies. Like you get guys who really stand out and are actually pretty good, and then you get actors or actresses that are like, yeah, there's a reason why they're in a low budgeted B movie that no one really remembers. This came out in the year 2000, so it feels like it came out in the year 2000. Specifically when it came to like clothing style and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, I remember that time. I remember that
Yeah.
time. Um, so it's all of these people kind of reuniting after all of these years, but there's a lot of old baggage and old grudges and old things that they get into or they reemerge and they have to deal with all of that. And it's all centered around something that happens. I won't spoil it, but yeah, there's a lot of old wounds that get reopened up with a bunch of these quote unquote friends. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a nice little thriller.
Ah,
It's a nice little thriller,
so it's The Big Chill, but a
but
thriller
way
movie?
more mean.
I'm just kidding.
Uh, but
All right.
yeah, that's a apropos comparison, I guess.
All right. Well, what's the other one you saw?
What else did I see? Oh, I saw The Sect.
Okay.
Yeah, The Sect,
Sect.
which is
What's a sect?
I always thought that was like a
Like sector, like it's
yeah,
short
like
version.
sector or section
So like
or
the
like
place.
group of people.
So the place, the
Could be,
sect.
could be.
I don't know.
But the premise of that film is this.
Spree of
This stylishly photographed horror movie centers upon a beautiful, good-hearted schoolteacher whose life becomes a living hell. After she is chosen to bear the son of Satan, her horrible ordeal
Oh,
begins when an ancient, enigmatic traveler places an ancient, supposedly extinct insect up her nose. Stephen, do not sleep around strangers. I can't warn you of that enough. It crawls into her brain. She soon begins having
hey,
terrifying dreams and more. So, yes, this movie starts off with the baseline of saying, oh, there's this satanic cult living in the desert. And then fast forwards 20 years, and they choose who's going to bear the son of Satan.
I don't want to
And
win
it,
I don't want to win that contest.
yeah, and it happens to be this unsuspecting sweet school teacher lady who like almost runs over some guy, and then she feels so bad that she almost killed this guy. She invites him back to her place instead of taking him to the hospital after hitting him
God
with her car.
damn it.
Steven, I don't know about you, but if I hit somebody with my car, we're going to the hospital. We're going to the
Yeah,
hospital.
hospital, calling the cops,
Call the
whatever it is.
cops. What is interesting, it's not like one of those where like it was in the woods or people didn't see it or anything like that. No, it was like in front of a restaurant and a bunch of people came out
Yeah.
and were like checking in on the situation. So there were witnesses to this. So anywho, this elderly gentleman who's a little delirious, a little not quite not quite all there, is portrayed by who's he portrayed by? He's portrayed by Herbert Lom. Herbert Lom being in the Pink Panther movies. That's where I know him from the most. Um, he is part of this satanic cult, and he takes this bug and puts it in her nose, and
Ugh.
it's about as uncomfortable a scene as you could expect, and
I don't know.
things really go downhill for her after that, as one would expect.
There's never been a more uncomfortable nose scene than the one in Total Recall,
Ah, yes.
where he
Oh,
pulls the tracker out of his nose. Yes, there's no more uncomfortable of a
yeah.
scene.
I mean, this is not a nose scene, but how about that scene in The Matrix where they bug Neo
Yeah,
literally, and
yeah.
then they got to take the bug out of him and they like
Talking about through
zap it out of
his belly button. Yeah,
Very
it's
uncomfortable.
rough.
Very uncomfortable. Yeah, like this it's very uncomfortable seeing things go into places that are not supposed to, especially bugs, which is apparently a thing. Apparently, when you're sleeping, Steven, sometimes bugs can go into places you don't want them to be, like in your
Asshole.
ear and things like that. Ew, uncomfortable. But yeah, this movie is if you this movie sounds familiar, it is very much kind of an Italian horror version of Rosemary's Baby.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
directed by Michelle Soavi, who I think also
Right.
directed a couple of the other movies that were recently announced. Like he directed The Church and
Yeah.
Cemetery Man, which I lauded a lot last week. Cemetery Man is probably like the best movie I think of all of the 9 movies they've announced of this slate, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, that's it. I think that's it from Severin, right, Steven?
Yeah. That's it.
Anything else that they've talked about? No, just a bunch
Well,
of sale stuff.
just the
Mm.
sale stuff, and I mean, obviously, you hadn't seen the other two, so but we got a couple other horror oriented labels that got a couple releases.
I was gonna say they have some other bundles here too. I didn't see these.
Okay.
Um, the Molto Soavi bundle for $2.99, limited to 400, has 17 items. It's got I think that's the Cemetery Man, the Sect, and the Church. So all of that director's work, plus a boatload of other stuff like got a snow globe in there. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Snow globe, 3 T-shirts, 5 enamel pins. You
Partridge in
got
a
an
pear tree.
autograph from the director.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And then you have the That's Delamore bundle for $142, which got the 4 disc collector's edition of the Cemetery Man plus the snow globe plus the pins plus the T-shirt. Yeah, they go over to Severin's website and see what they've got. If you're listening to this in the future, obviously it's a little bit different now, but hopefully these movies are at least available for a while. I know a lot of their stuff sells out very quickly. But you were saying, Steven, we got other horror related stuff.
Yes, we do. Blue Underground.
Ah,
They got a release of another Christopher Lee classic, Night of the Blood Monster,
nice.
aka The Bloody Judge.
Yes.
Jess Franco's appeared again. There
Yes,
he
he
is.
is. Night of the
in
Blood
4K.
Monster.
In 4K. Description here: Christopher Lee gives us one of the most unforgettable performances as Judge George Jeffreys, the infamous 17th century witch finder whose unholy obsession with a lustrous wench, Mario Rome of the blood of Fu Manchu, feels a jaw-dropping spree of torture, brutality, and flesh-ripping perversion. Howard Vernon, Margaret Lee, and Mary Shell, Oscar nominee Leo Glenn, co-star in this epic sexual violence sadism, complete with superb score by Bruno Nicola, and directed by Jess Franco, of course. This sounds amazing.
I've seen it. I don't remember how I've seen it or why I watched it. I
It
think
might have
maybe
been announced before, and maybe we're talking about it
yeah, I
again.
think that's the reason why. And also because it's Christopher Lee, I feel like that's what gets people in the door for this.
Yeah.
But it's another kind of early 70s Jess Franco film of kind of more straighter films than he would then do later on, where he kind of just went off the rails, in my opinion.
You
Uh,
don't think this is off the rails? This
I don't
seems up.
remember. I don't for Jess Franco, he did such crazier stuff after this that I feel like this is maybe more of his more straighter laced stuff,
Okay.
even though it's probably not straight laced to many, or to some. But yeah, this is about like witch hunting, witch finding, stuff like that. It's like torture and all kinds of stuff. Um,
All right. Well,
Damn witches. But yeah,
well,
Christopher
yeah.
Lee's hunting witches.
Yeah,
That's the movie.
that's cool. Synapse, they had some releases. They have one here called The Convent coming to 4K.
Yes, they do.
Description here: 1960, a young woman named Christine enters St. Francis boarding school for girls and lays waste to the resident nuns. 4 decades later, a group of college students head to the long abandoned building late one night to tag it with their fraternity letters. Little knowing that rumors of the place being haunted are terrifyingly true. Stir in a couple of disapproving cops and a band of unlikely Satanists, and the table is set for the feast of demonic infestation and bloodshed that only the grown-up Christine can possibly stop. So, you've seen this.
I did see it the other night. Do you know who plays the 2 cops in this? That they just mentioned that description? I can tell you.
Please tell me.
One is Bill Moseley from Rob Zombie movie fame.
There you go.
He was in House of a Thousand Corpses. He was in The Devil's Rejects. He was
Tell
in
me the
Free
other
from Hell.
person, Steve Gutenberg.
No, the other person is
Damn it.
Coolio.
Even better.
What a twist! They are not in
Even
the movie
better.
enough. They're only in like 2, maybe 3 scenes in the movie, and it's like I need more of Coolio in this movie. I mean, come on.
I say Coolio all the time, just when I'm saying like Cole instead of Cole. I say Coolio sometimes.
Well,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
that's an old saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coolio and Bill Moseley are the random cops that like bust these kids at this abandoned
They rival.
convent.
They rival the Seth Rogen and Bill Hader from Pineapple Express.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, they should have been featured just as much as
Or
them.
not Pineapple Express, but Superbad.
Yeah, super bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the usual fare. College age kids go to a place they shouldn't go to.
Yeah.
Supernatural horror hijinks ensue.
Yeah. Scooby-Doo.
And they end up reviving all of these zombie nuns that then start killing them. And they've got to get this. They've got it, and then they go and get the woman the person that you talked about, this Christine woman who murdered all these nuns back in the day, or what people believe to be like murdered nuns, but she was actually murdering zombies. And they have to come and kick some nun zombie ass. You know what I mean? It's Taylor's all this time. The cover art for this release is pretty awesome. Just really cool artwork. I really dig it. Yeah, it's a fun movie. It is. I think this is a 4K. Yeah, it's a 4K UHD release from Synapse. And I think where did I watch it streaming? I want to say I watched it streaming probably on Tubi. That seems like a Tubi place to be, or maybe it was actually even Shutter. I actually got used out of my Shutter subscription. Um, it's streaming on Tubi, it's streaming on Shutter, it's streaming on Freevee, it's streaming on Roku. These are all places you can find it. Um,
All right.
yeah, it's a low budget movie, bad acting, but you get to see some fun stuff going on and some fun bonkers like resurrections plus zombie nuns,
Yeah.
weird
All you
stuff
could
going on.
all you could ask for.
But then
All right.
there's another Synapse release that I know nothing about, but it sounds made up. And that
Okay.
is, and what is that, Steve? Is that
I don't have that one. You said
Infinite Santa 8000? Sounds made up.
it sounds like you made it up. Yeah.
Well, it's a post-apocalyptic heavy metal animated Christmas classic. Apparently, it is the year
Sure.
8. It is the year 8000. The old world is gone. Not much remains except for the mutants, scum, and robo people. Humanity has been wiped out, and everyone must kill to survive. Even Santa. When his beloved Martha is kidnapped by the evil Dr. Shackleton, Santa and his robotic reindeer head out into the post-apocalyptic wasteland to rescue her. Bloody carnage ensues as Santa fights his way through horrors, including bat sharks, killbots, and even a giant Easter bunny to save Martha and carry on the Christmas spirit. Because nothing says Christmas spirit like killing a giant Easter bunny, I guess.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, this was inspiration for that Rise of the Guardians movie.
clearly.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was originally conceived as a multi-part web series, which sounds about right. But
A web series in 2003.
I guess so.
God, that's early, dude.
Yeah, apparently it was a 13-part web series. Infinite Santa 8000 has been reimagined here in an all-new feature-length director's cut, in quotes, added new scenes, reanimated and retouched shots, and recut to match the original script. See the way the film was intended to.
Okay.
Featuring a blasting heavy metal score, tons of blood and guts, and exciting sci-fi action. Sounds perfect right in time for the holidays, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it says 2013, so that makes more sense.
I thought I saw here it says 2003.
Well, I'm on the Synapse Facebook page.
I'm on Blu-ray.com and it says the movie came out in 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wrong in one spot and right it says 2013 in the other spot.
Oh, that sounds like a misprint.
Because on the press release here it says Infinite Santa 8000 2003.
Sounds like somebody wrote something wrong somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so that's Synapse.
All right. Well, unless you otherwise, the Criterion is all I got left.
I think that should be. Let's see what we got for time here. Yeah, let's go to Criterion. I feel like we started with a little bit of Criterion talk with a few things we bought. Let's talk about stuff that's coming out in February. If you can even process your mind to February of 2024, because I know I can't.
Well, we do it all the time. So,
yeah, isn't that true? We're living in the future.
3 months ahead.
So, what do we got here in terms of releases?
Well, one of them I know I think we talked about because it got a release from Warner Archive not that long ago. And I know you're a big fan of this film. Coming to 4K, The Roaring Twenties, starring a couple greats. I believe we got
James Cagney.
James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart. I remember watching this.
So this is. I think you're thinking of Angels with Dirty Faces.
No, I'm thinking of this one.
Oh, the Roaring Twenties doesn't have a Warner Archive release. This is going from DVD to Blu-ray to 4K.
I could have sworn it got a release recently.
No, I just checked Blu-ray.com.
All right, well, I guess I'm making it up then.
Yeah, make it up. But maybe I could be wrong too. Either way, when I saw that this is getting a release, I nearly cried. Because I've been wanting this movie for so long. I have a friend who had this on DVD, and that's where I watched it for the first time. And yeah, this is a fantastic, probably one of my favorite movies of the 30s. It really is. Came out in 1939, which is a very magical year for movies. There's look up the filmography of 1939. It's some of the best movies ever really came out that year, like The Wizard of Oz, um, Gone with the Wind, a bunch of movies, great movies came out that year. But The Roaring Twenties is a great film starring James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart. In his pre Casablanca time, he was just played like heavies in movies. That was kind of his thing. But yes, legendary James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart star as army buddies whose fortunes rise and fall as their fates intersect. First in a foxhole on the front lines of World War I, then in Manhattan's Prohibition-era underworld. Directed by Hollywood master Raoul Walsh and based on a story by prolific journalist turned screenwriter producer Mark Hellinger, the Roaring Twenties brought to a close these celebrated Warner Brothers gangster cycles of the 1930s, and it remains one of the greatest and most influential crime films of all time. Yeah, this is right before film noir became a thing, at least in most people's sense. But
Yeah.
it still has those film noir elements to it from a certain extent, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the relationship between the James Cagney and the Humphrey Bogart character, the way in which their characters' lives intersect and go different ways and all this kind of stuff. Um, it's an amazing movie. I can't stress this enough. Raoul Walsh is a great director. In terms of special features, I think it's mostly an audio commentary with film historian Lincoln Hurst, new interview with critic Gary Giddens, an excerpt from an interview from 1973 with Raoul Walsh. But at least we're getting this movie not only on Blu-ray but in 4K UHD from a new 4K digital restoration. I am ecstatic about this. Yeah, I cannot wait to get this. This is high priority for me next year. But we got some other ones.
Yes. So we also got a 4K upgrade for the Robert Altman film Macabre and Miss Miller. This is one that's been in my collection for a long time that I still have not watched.
Uh-oh.
I
You know
know.
what that means.
That means an unwatched part.
Indeed it does. But yeah, this may be, I don't know, I have to run his filmography down from what I've seen. Maybe my favorite Robert Altman film? I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking out of
I mean,
turn.
there's Nashville. There's
I liked it more than Nashville. I haven't seen Shortcuts. The Player is actually really good. The Player actually gets better as time goes on.
What about did he do The Long Goodbye?
Is that The Long Goodbye? I think you're right. Yeah, that's the one with that's the one with Elliot Gould as
yeah.
Philip Marlowe.
Yep.
He did do that. That movie is actually very
That's
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it because I remember I told you Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like a guy in the background in it.
Yeah.
Yes. That movie is actually very good. But this movie stars Warren Beatty and Julie Christie. This unorthodox dream western by Robert Altman may be the most radically beautiful film to come out of the new American cinema. It stars Warren Beatty, Julie Christie, as I said, two newcomers to the raw Pacific Northwest mining town of Presbyterian Church, who join forces to provide the miners with superior kind of whorehouse experience. The appearance of representatives for a powerful mining company with interests of its own, however, threatens to be the undoing of their plans with its fascinating flawed characters, evocative cinematography by the great Vilmos Zsigmond, innovative overlapping dialogue, and a haunting use of Leonard Cohen songs, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, brilliantly deglamorizes and revitalizes the most American of genres, the Western. It's Robert Altman doing a Western, but it's not a glamorized Western. It's like a dirty, uncompromising Western. It very much reminds me of like the Western that we would see later on in like Deadwood and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that type of Western. It's not quite the spaghetti Western, which was more based on like action and outlaws and, that stylization and that grittiness and stuff. And then you've got like the Western of John Ford, which was very glamorized and like kind of American folklore and legend and big time legends like John Wayne and all that stuff. This is something that's even more different than that. That's why I think it's so unique. So unique. I have the Blu-ray in my collection. I don't know if I'm going to upgrade this right away.
It kind of sounds like it falls more in the Heaven's Gate area.
Yeah, probably in like a Heaven's Gate, which came out years later, which I still haven't seen. It's still
Whoa, that's one
in an
you
unwatched
do.
pile.
You know, Heaven's Gate, man, it got a bad rap, of course, initially because it bombed, but it's actually pretty damn good.
I
It's
bet.
pretty
Yeah, I
good.
bet you it's.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, the only fault with it is that it's 3 hours long.
It's fucking long, but it's actually pretty good, and that's a nice hiccup you got there.
Thank you.
But moving on, we do have some. We got some box sets. We got one here. We got a double feature. One, it's in 4K. We have the Heroic Trio, and then we have the Executioners. So yeah, this is I believe Chinese films, starring Maggie Chung, Anita Miu, and Michelle Yao.
Oscar winner.
Yes, of course, from recent film
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
So, these movies are well, the first film specifically is awesome. Um, um, Tough to explain the plot. Actually, not really. It's kind of like it's
I was
like
going
a
to say
Chinese.
Charlie's Angels.
You're not far off. You're not far off. But it's kind of like a Chinese comic book come to life in every sense of the word. Like it's over the top. It's action packed. It could be assumed to be a little ridiculous at times, but it has, but it works. You know what I mean? It feels so comic booky. If anything, it fits right into modern times. So while one tough woman with an invisible robe has stolen 18 babies for her powerful master, two other women and cops try to stop her. Um, yeah, there's a connection between the characters, specifically two of them. Um, Great action sequences. It's so awesome. Um, I can't recommend this enough. This is directed by Johnny To, by the way, who's a director that we've been introduced to through just the releases of his work that's been coming out over the last several years. And yeah, I when it comes to Johnny To, I will probably check out anything that he's done. So I've got to watch this. So the star power cinema icons: Maggie Chung, Anita Mui, Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, you read this already, right? What am I doing?
Yes, you're just
Yes,
reading it again.
I'm reading it again. But the second team, did you read the part about the sequel?
No, I didn't. It seems they're just very long paragraphs.
Okay. but the sequel is called Executioners, and it's different in the sense that it takes place years later and years after the events of the first film in like a dystopian society where apparently the water has been contaminated to the point where it can't be used, so you need to find fresh water, and someone controls the water, like gangsters control the water, or some government controls the water or something. It's nowhere near as good as the first film. It's the movie, it tries to do way too much and tries to become like a very focused film, and I felt like the first film, the best part about the first film was kind of its wild unfocusedness. Um, Let me see if I can get the Executioners, the Heroic Trio 2. So the premise is set sometime after the original Heroic Trio, the city has been devastated by a nuclear attack, the dystopian future aspect. An evil, deformed villain controls the city's scarce water supply, exerting influence over both a popular leader and a militarist colonel. So there's like politics going on and like the president being controlled or police being controlled or something. There's a lot of convoluted stuff going on in it. The action's still awesome, and these actresses are amazing in this movie. But just the plot is just I didn't vibe with as much as I vibed with the first film, which was way more of a comic book. Like there's like one evil bad guy who they've got to stop and all this kind of stuff. Um, yeah, this is a really cool release from Criterion. This is not a typical Criterion release, in my opinion. This is something you see from an Arrow or an 88 or a Eureka. So they're dipping their toe into that realm. We saw it already with Last Hurrah of Chivalry, the John Woo film that they put out. We saw it with that Jackie Chan box set of his early films. saw it with the Bruce Lee stuff, and we're seeing it now with this. So everybody's getting in on the whole kind of, you know, martial arts game of movies from the 80s and 90s and 70s, really. So, but we've got another box set here, Steven. Now, this is a bigger box set.
Yeah, yeah. More Eric Romer,
Yes,
which
indeed.
we've already had the Six Moral Tales in the collection already, but this one is called Tales of the Four Seasons.
Yes, he's telling more tales.
He's telling more tales, man. So we have Tale of Springtime, Tale of Winter, Tale of Summer, and Tale of Autumn. Did you guess that?
Those are the seasons.
That are the seasons, yes.
Nailed
The season, the description here: the seasons may change, but the follies of the heart are constant. In this affable, lovely quartet of films by Eric Romer, one of cinema's most perceptive chroniclers of the pangs and perils of romance. Set throughout France, Tales of Four Seasons is a cycle stand alongside the director's two earlier acclaimed film series, The Six Moral Tales and the Comedies and Proverbs, which I've seen most of them. I have the set that Arrow put out a while back ago. By turns comedy and melancholic, breezy, and richly philosophical, these bittersweet tales of love, longing, and inevitable misunderstandings that shape human relationships probe the most complex of emotions with the utmost grace. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested in these films. I love films that are about, just like real people going through real things. And that's what the Eric Romer films I've seen, that's what it's been. Very much kind of almost like French, the French version of like, the Before trilogy in a way,
like these films are very much in line with that.
Yeah.
These are all streaming on the Criterion channel, so you can watch them all on there if you're subscribed to that. And while these are all like, they're all in a box set, they're all like a tale of spring, summer, fall, whatever. They're not connected in any way.
Yeah,
they're connected loosely thematically.
Yeah.
But they're connected in a way like you just said, Stephen. They're all about people going through relationship type of things.
Yeah.
For example, A Tale of Springtime is a story of an introverted young girl just reaching adulthood who takes a liking to an older woman she meets at a party and determines to match her off with her father, despite the latter's already having a lover of his own. A lot of complications there. There. These movies are, in typical Eric Romer fashion, heavy dialogue based. You really have to lock in on the dialogue. So they can be a little bit of not a chore to get through, but these are not like lighter films. These are films you kind of have to really be constantly engaged with, lock in on, think about while you're watching them, think about them afterward. They're heavier movies from a certain extent, and that's what Eric Romer really does. So yeah, A Tale of Winter is a similar film. Felice and Charles have a whirlwind holiday romance. Due to a mix-up on addresses, they lose contact, and 5 years later, at Christmas time, Felice is living with her mother in a cold Paris with a daughter as a reminder of that long ago summer. For male companionship, she oscillates between hairdresser Maxence and the intellectual Loic, but seems unable to commit to either, as the memory of Charles and what might have been hangs over everything. So this is a movie about a woman who is, she had kind of a whirlwind romance, a once in a lifetime romance, and due to the fact that this movie came out in 1992, no one has cell phones, so no one can contact each other directly. So that's the one thing about watching these movies, and it's like when you meet somebody that you're interested in, back in the day, like you had to have a house phone, or even sometimes they'll be like, I'll be in this area at this time. Meet me there. You know what I mean? Like it's like it brings you back to a time before cell phones, before instant communication, before text messaging, and how do relationships, friendships, romances, how do all of those things work? And sometimes you just end up losing contact with someone because you give them the wrong phone number, you give them the wrong address, you give them the wrong city, state, country, whatever. And it's like, yep, they're going forever. Time to move on. Well, in this case, this woman 5 years later has a child that constantly reminds her of, the love lost. And then she oscillates between these two guys who she really doesn't love and really doesn't have any type of magic connection with. You know what I mean? Like one's kind of distant, and the other one is almost too doting. You know what I mean? They're two completely different guys that serve two completely different avenues in her life. So she's kind of indifferent about them. But then we get to the third film, which I think is the best film in this franchise. In this not franchise, look at me with my modern terminology here. But this third film here is A Summer's Tale, or A Tale of Summer. These all have like different titles. Like A Summer's Tale or A Tale of Summer. It's all the same film. But a shy math student takes a holiday in Dinard before starting his first job. Dinard is like this coastal place in northwestern France, in the province of Brittany. He hopes his sort of girlfriend will join him, but soon strikes up a friendship with another girl working in town. She, in turn, introduces him to a further young lady who fancies him. Thus, the quiet young lad finds he is having to do some tricky juggling in territory new to him. So he basically is juggling three different women and is super indifferent as to which one of these women he really likes, or he really fancies the most, or he wants to have a relationship with. And he's kind of going in between all three of these women. Very similar to what we just saw in the other film. He's so indifferent about it. He doesn't really know what to do. He's in uncharted territory as a young man trying to figure out young love and all that junk. He's trying to figure it all out. Meanwhile, he's in this very beautiful beach town on vacation. And there's one woman he has like very deep, thought-provoking discussions with. There's another woman who they have a very sensual physical bond with, sexual and whatnot. And then there's another woman he has a relationship with as well. And it's all about him figuring it out. Apparently, this is the most autobiographical of all of these films for Eric Romer. Apparently, like something similar to this actually happened to him. So I guess lucky him at one point, at having three like beautiful, intelligent women, like having to pick one, I guess. I don't know. But I rather enjoyed watching this movie from that standpoint, and from being a young person at that time as well, and being rather indifferent in life too. I was able to connect with it on that level. Really good film. Yeah, really great film. And then the last one is A Tale of Autumn. And A Tale of Autumn, Magali, 40-something, is a winemaker and a widow. She loves her work but feels lonely. Her friends Rosine and Isabel both want secretly to find a husband for Magali. So yeah, this woman is a widower. She's in her 40s. She's, doesn't have a significant other. She has a daughter who I believe is moving away, who has moved away. So she has kind of a surrogate daughter, and she has a best friend. And the best friend and the surrogate daughter try to like hook her up with someone, essentially, like try to play matchmaker and find someone for her. And they do it, on their own with two different guys. And it's all about like, finding love. I would say finding love in your 40s, which sounds like a premise for a Hallmark film. It really does.
Nah.
But you know what I mean? But yeah, it's all about like, not only looking for love at that age, but also dealing with what is the thought at that age in terms of loneliness, in terms of not feeling self-worth, in terms of being rejected, in terms of all of those things, which I think are rather universal themes that many of us have had to deal with throughout our lives, but maybe are a little more difficult at that age because you've already lived a full life. So having to deal with all of that may be a bit more difficult. So Eric Romer kind of traverses those areas as well. All these films are really, really good, really, really great. Another great box set of Eric Romer's work. If you have the Six Moral Tales, this will probably go right next to it on the shelf somewhere. I think these are all new 2K restorations, new interviews in here as well. This is another really nice box set. Can't wait to actually add this to the collection, maybe from a flash sale or maybe from next year's Criterion sale at Barnes & Noble. Who knows?
Yeah.
But there is one more movie here, Steven, we've got to talk about, and that is Nothing But a Man. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a more of a song title. No, I'm thinking when a man loves a woman, it's like
Indeed.
nothing but a man. I feel like it could be a song, but it's not probably.
I agree with you.
I did that for Josephine, by the way, because she loves when I
She
sing for him.
does. She does. There's a lot of people who like your singing, Stephen. You're quite the artiste.
Not really, but
No.
yeah, nothing but a man. You've seen it. Talk about it.
I did see it. This unfortunately is not streaming on the Criterion channel, which is really annoying because it feels like it should be. So, Nothing But a Man. So, the premise here is pretty scarce, and there's a lot more that goes into it. So, a proud black man and his school teacher wife face discriminatory challenges in 1960s America. Yes, that is part of the film, but it's way more complex than that. Um, Remer's groundbreaking first features, sensitively shot by his close collaborator Robert M. Young, is a still resonant expression of humanity in the face of virulent prejudice. Made at the height of the civil rights movement, Nothing But a Man reveals the toll of systemic racism through its honest portrait of a Southern black railroad worker, Ivan Dixon, confronting the daily challenges of discrimination and economic precarity as he attempts to settle down with his new wife, portrayed by jazz great Abby Lincoln, and track down his father, portrayed by Julius Harris. Admired by Malcolm X and now recognized as a landmark of American cinema, this tender film grounds its social critique in characters of unforgettable complexity and truth. A lot to go through there. So, yes, it is primarily exploring racial dynamics and racial themes in the 1960s, but also obviously can be transposed into modern times as well because we're still dealing with all of those things. But it's also dealing with like personal relationships as well. Not only the relationship between this young man and this young woman as they're trying to start a life together, but also the complexities that go with that, with outside pressures, specifically what happens where the family of the young woman really doesn't approve of you. Uh,
Mhm.
that seems to be a big aspect of it as well. But then also dealing with the complexities of a father or father figure that was never really there and is kind of a terrible person. Like, what does that bearing have on who you are as a person? How much does that influence on who you become as you get older? You know what I mean? Kind of like, what do you inherit from your parents? Do you not only inherit, the biological things, but also character traits and other things like that? It's dealing with a lot of those things. Really great film. Super glad that Criterion's putting this out. And that's what Criterion does. They unearth these great, kind of relatively long lost films that I've never heard of until now. So definitely check it out if you get a chance to. It may be a bit of a blind buy for people, but a worthy blind buy. Um, yeah, so I think that's it for
Awesome.
Criterion, Steven. I think we're good.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that sounds really great. For some reason in my mind, I was like, I know it's not the same storyline, but I was like, this sounds like a better version of Green Book.
It's better than I can tell you, it's better than Green Book.
I know it's not the same story, but just thinking about like, it's in the South. It's black man trying to, deal with racism. Of
Yeah,
course, it's a whole, and he's a musician. This guy's a musician.
yeah. It
Yeah,
doesn't even like it's interesting because it's more like on a personal level of what the character's dealing with
yeah,
versus like, oh, he's dealing with racist people. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like they could have easily made this film just about that. Like him fighting back against racism, kind of like how Green Book did. But
yeah,
no, it's about way more than that. That just is like one part of this puzzle of this guy's life that he's going through.
yeah.
Um
All
yeah,
right.
really,
Well,
really
I mean, I
awesome,
guess
really
in
good
Green
movie.
Book, he's going through more too. He's,
That's very true.
not
Very
just
true.
black, but he's also, queer, character. So it's a lot. It's a complex. Yeah, we won't talk about Green Book,
Yeah, I know.
but
Story for a different time.
yeah, but that's it. That's it for spy number 125. Thanks everybody for listening. Andrew, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter or X at Kevzilla06, as well as our YouTube channel, Chasing Labels.
And you can find both of us over on our Facebook group, Chasing Labels Film Collectors Podcast. Come over. We'll approve you. We'll let you in. Come and talk with us. And then also you can find me at the other Chasing Labels pages, whether it's our X page or our Instagram, and you can find me at Stephen Billings on Facebook. You can also find the audio for the podcast on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and other places. Thanks again for listening, and hey, keep on watching them movies.
I know I will.